The battle for the Zulu throne continues. Amabutho gathered as members of the royal family are at pains to convince the Supreme Court of Appeal. The president contends that processes of consulting were followed as stipulated by the Traditional Leaders Act. He argues that he requested the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs to confirm with the Premier of KwaZulu Natal before issuing the certificate of recognition. Ramaphosa and the COGTA minister want the SCA to reinstate the recognition decision.
The recognition decision of the president was lawful, rational, and in full compliance with the Act, that there was no duty to initiate an investigation under Section 8, subsection 4, and the High Court's order setting aside the recognition decision we submit should be reversed, and we ask that the appeal be upheld and that the recognition decision be reinstated.
King Misuzulu, kaZwelithini, has argued that the North Gauteng High Court judgment is irrational as it contains contradictions. He contends that the judgment finds identification is finalized and later says the identification process should be revisited. The court failed to properly analyze the judgment of the High Court in Pietermaritzburg, which ruled that the identification of King Misuzulu, kaZwelithini, was done lawfully. The King told the court there was no allegation that the identification of King was unlawful because everything was done according to the customary law.
The role of the royal family, which is a statutory role, and the custom of identifying a king, which is a pure customary practice, the two seem to have been conflated. The insertion of the royal family into the identification is a statutory requirement, which we accept must be fulfilled. But it is not a customary requirement. The custom is clear. It's set out in various paragraphs.
Prince Mbonsini Bekithemba kaZulu argues the royal family members were deprived of their customary and constitutional right to be party to the identification of their king. He has told the SCA that there is ample evidence that critical members of the royal family were excluded.
You would have expected members of the royal family who were present on the meeting of the 14th of May to file a confirmatory affidavit confirming that they were attending there for the purpose of identification of an heir. But we have indicated a significant number of people who are recorded in the minute and in the attendance register who were not members of the royal family. And with respect, that meeting cannot have been a meeting of the royal family. That is a duty to identify an heir.
Both sides remain optimistic and that it is all in the interest of protecting the AmaZulu customs.
In fact, I don't even see the reason of looking at the procedure, because the president took a decision to recognize the king, because the king on the 20th of August 2022, the king entered in the crawl, which is Ungena Isbayeni, that completed the installation or the coronation of the king.
If this thing was left like this, and unchallenged, it affects all royal houses. It minimizes the powers of the royal house to then choose, a person that will represent them. And, here today, what we had, it's a flawed process.
Arguments before the SCA will continue on Thursday. Security remains tight at the court's precinct. Makhala Masideng, SABC News, Bloemfontein.